Hey there, how are you doing today? Everybody having fun with their drawing and watercolor tutorials and practicing and getting up to speed with their skills? I hope so. At least that's the whole point and goal of this channel is get everybody back into and working with their creative skills and bringing things up to speed. So if you're a new viewer, hi, I'm Rusty Nelson, the old Rusty Professor, or the four finger watercolor fanatic. Been going through some changes and updates to my channel in the last couple of weeks in regards to what I've been doing and why I'm doing it. So I had a big breakout video about a month ago just on basic drawing skills using the Loomis method, drawing heads and faces. So I think, have found something that people are interested in working with and doing. And so I'm going to integrate more and more of the drawing. And, I'm really fine with that. Even though I started out this channel as a watercolor channel, I'm fine about going back and doing stuff related to drawing because that was my run. I call it my run home to mama skill, and that everybody starts out drawing. I drew for years and years and years until probably my freshman year in high school was the first time I ever started painting. And even when I started painting, that was with acrylic paints, and moving into college and doing oil painting. And it wasn't until after college that I discovered wet media like gouache and watercolor. So it's definitely a nice comfort area for me to work in, coming back and doing drawing. So I've taught drawing courses for a number of years here at the university, and those drawing courses, those foundation drawing courses, getting people up off the ground and starting to draw. And a lot of our students, we don't necessarily get the art stars that were in whatever high school that we pick up. We may have had the student who was interested in art that never had a chance to do art in high school. And so we really start the students at that ground level when they get here to the university, and we run them through our foundation courses, and typically they're at a third to fifth grade level of drawing abilities or understanding or exposure to basic principles and elements of art and design. So we really have to bring them up to speed pretty quick and get them running so we can kick them over into the studios or into the design program to really start developing those higher order skills. And so, yeah, being tasked with teaching a foundation class it's quite a lift because you do have to run through so many foundation principles and elements and get them up to speed. And that's exactly how I started this channel, was starting out with those foundation drawing skills, basic shapes, learning how to model, understanding lighting and shadows and things like that, and just keep expanding and building those skills and techniques through drawing, because it is a foundation skill and it is used constantly in every specialty that we have in the programs at the university. When I started my design career pre-computer back in the dark ages when we chiseled stuff on stone, not really, but it felt like it. I went through and we were learning all the foundation stuff. We worked on drafting tables. We worked by drawing stuff. You had to be able to draw well to be a designer, because everything we had to propose as to what was going to be a design had to be drawn first. So drawing was a basic required skill that may not be quite as required, but it's definitely a helpful skill even today, even with all the digital stuff we do, and probably even more so now with the tablets are becoming a bigger driving force for students working in the field, working in a tablet and drawing and painting and doing things by hand that way. So I was very happy to introduce and get more focused with doing figure drawing, faces, and because I love drawing people, and that was my my thing I really loved doing in college and even after college. I did a lot of freelance illustration work when I was working as a designer, or I designed things that would require illustration work. So, and that always had people in it. So, being able to draw people, it was a very fundamental skill for me in that kind of a position. And then the computers came along, everything started going digital, but I kept my hand in my traditional skills all the way through the last 35, 40 years as a designer and teaching design in higher education. So, boy, it's been a lot of fun kind of brushing up and having my skills polished again, doing these tutorials. And I've definitely, I think I've talked about this in the previous Talking Watercolor or whatever, that I haven't taught my foundation drawing class in a couple of semesters, and even my figure drawing class maybe for 3 semesters. So I've kind of let those skills lapse a little bit, and they are perishable skills. So if you are going to be dedicated about getting back into drawing people and faces and portraits and things like that, you need to do it and work with it constantly to keep those skills honed and up to snuff. So, and that's where I'm at right now, kind of doing daily exercises and warm-ups. And I did just drop today. I'm recording this on Monday for the Wednesday drop. So my weekly class tutorial that I just posted today, it dropped and it seems to be well received. And today's was going back to the figure. And I'm essentially working these, I think these Monday drawing sessions as I would in my standard class, where we're going to warm up with basic exercises in short, quick, fast warm-ups and extend it out to, a minute, 2 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute. And then ultimately get it up to where we're working up hour-long portraits and sketches and figures and things like that. So that's my idea for what's going to be happening with the Monday sessions. And I'm not quite sure, because I don't want to post a 2-hour-long class. Maybe that might go over well. Let me know if you think so. Just drop me a comment in my post section on the channel and let me know if you think people would sit around and watch a full class period. Our Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes are typically an hour and 50 minutes. And if we have class on Tuesday, Thursdays, they're 2 hours and 50 minutes. And I don't mind that 3-hour block for figure drawing, because you can get 2 1-hour portraits and drawings done in that time frame. So it does feel a little more rushed when we're working on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, doing those type of drawings. Whereas with a Tuesday, Thursday, it gives the students a little more time. Now, we don't meet as often. That's the one drawback with a Tuesday, Thursday class, is that you only meet twice a week, where I think with a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, you have that extra day with that extra hour of warm-ups, those real quick sketches, those gesture sketches, those mannequins, and those quick descriptive figures as you're drawing them. So it's a little more, it's definitely more of a challenge to schedule all the models to come in on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. And what we typically do, we'll schedule 2 models, and our models are typically the college kids. That actually, that's the highest paid job at the university for a student, is a drawing model, especially if it's for nude modeling, that they get paid a little extra for that. But to schedule 2 models, because sometimes, well, with students, things come up and they may not show up to class and provide a model for us. So I always have plan B, and the first plan B is to have a second model, and we just bring them both in at the same time and have them posing and walking and running through the fast poses, and then we work up to a longer pose. Now, the one thing with a live model in a classroom setting is the long poses, you have to give them breaks and things a little more often. Well, you just simply have to give them breaks because they'll get stiff. They have to move and work out any cramps and Charlie horses that might be developing by holding a long pose. And a lot of our long poses tend to be reclined poses or seated poses, where standing poses for an hour can be that's quite a challenge for students. And I've had countless models over the years, and students as well, where being in class, and I typically have a pretty early morning class. They don't like my classes because I typically have my classes at 7:30. I like getting my day started and conducting my classes and then get it done, and then have my afternoons to either grade or do whatever I need to be doing. So I've been doing that for years. So yeah, 7:30 in the morning classes is a challenge for some of the models. I think the females are a little more responsible than the males. It's hard to get a good committed male model to come in consistently, and when you do, you really value the commitment that they make. But it's typically female models. They're more reliable in general. And I don't know where I was going with that. Just in that, it's a lot of, I know where I was going with that. 7:30 in the morning classes, I've had students just keel over, pass out, and hit the floor, and and it's mainly because they're jumping out of bed and they don't eat breakfast or anything, and so their blood sugar and their metabolism's all screwed up, and they're hitting the deck pretty hard on some. I have at least 2 or 3 every semester that are passing out, and I've even had models pass out. They might be up throwing a 15-minute pose, and it's like being in band, where they'll be standing there and they'll lock their knee, and pretty soon they get wobbly kneed and they head over and they pass out. And so whenever that happens, we're supposed to call the fire department and get 911 there, and they may or may not get a nice ride over to the hospital to get checked out. But it's typically because they stayed up too late and they got up and they didn't eat breakfast. So it's pretty entertaining. I don't think my Monday morning sessions will be quite that exciting or unpredictable. That's the word. So, oh well, we're going to have some fun, I think, doing the Monday things. I'm going to be doing my tutorials with watercolor for Fridays again. I think I've said this in the last couple of episodes of Talking Watercolor. So I'm looking forward to it. I've got a whole list of things that I want to get painted. I'm still working on landscapes. I'm going to try a couple of cityscapes coming up, and city scenes with some people in them. Since we're drawing people on Mondays, I thought I'd do a few things with people in my watercolors and give you some tips and tricks about integrating figures into watercolors, and then also try to get some watercolor portraits up and running as well. I'll have to dust off that skill set as well. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are enjoying these tutorials. I hope everything's working out for you. Just remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. It does take a lot of practice. I know I can make it look easier than it is when you go to try to do it. And I do think when especially in the watercolor stuff, if I'm drawing with the brush, with the wet media, just realize there's like 45 plus years of just drawing experience going into that as well. And in addition to the time I've spent with the watercolor in the last 10 or 15 years, that's being demonstrated in the stuff when I'm painting. So all you got to do is just sit down and get to practicing and do various things. Try it on different types of paper, and pretty soon you'll be up to speed and doing some pretty amazing things yourself. You'll be even surprising yourself, and you'll find the things that you like doing too, whether it's landscapes or it's trees, if it's animals, if it's people, architecture. All of these things are options for you. And I know over the years I had my things that I really like doing. I've talked about that in previous episodes as well. But, it wasn't until I discovered watercolor, and I mean transparent watercolor, not gouache or the opaque watercolors, that I realized the ability of the techniques, and you do have to learn the techniques to be able to pull these things off. Once you understand the techniques and the medium, the confidence can grow, and it's the confidence that comes through into your artwork when you're doing this stuff. So don't get frustrated. Stay in there, stay swinging, practice on the cheap stuff, give an attempt on a good nice piece of paper every so often. I know that's a scary thing to have that $5 sheet of paper staring you back in the face. But, that's just the thing you have to confront. Like I said in another episode, I'm going back to all my episodes, that, art is a matter of just overcoming fear. And once that fear is overcome, that confidence grows and it comes out and comes right out onto your piece of paper, right down through your head, down through your arm, through your hand, through your fingers, through that brush, onto the piece of paper. So stay in there working. I've talked for 16 minutes. I hope you're having good luck with everything. Let me know how you're going. Drop me some comments. If you found any value out of this little conversation, give me a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you in the watercolor tutorial on Friday.